My beloved child, there is a truth I want you to understand clearly in this season of renewal. Healing is not only about being set free from the things that have wounded you, but also about recognizing who you are in my light. For many years, you may have looked at yourself through the lens of failures, wounds, or the words spoken by others. There were times when you allowed circumstances to define your worth and allowed the past to determine your future. But today, I am inviting you to see yourself again with new eyes. You are not the sum of what has happened to you. You are not the wounds you carry. You are not the times you stumbled or the seasons of tears that have passed. You are a creation deeply loved by me, formed with purpose, called to walk in the light, and carrying within you the imprint of heaven. When the light of my truth shines into your heart, many things will begin to change, not because the world around you immediately becomes different, but because you begin to see everything from a new position. The one who was once imprisoned by fear will learn to walk in trust. The one who was once bound by shame will learn to live in grace. The one who once thought themselves weak will discover that true strength does not come from human ability, but from my presence. As it is written, therefore, if anyone is in Christ, he is a new creation. Old things have passed away. Behold, all things have become new. 2 Corinthians 5:17. What I am doing within you is not a temporary repair. It is a work of renewal from the inside out, where the mind is transformed, the heart is softened, and the soul is restored. Perhaps in the past, you thought you were only trying to survive from one day to the next, but I did not create you merely to survive. I created you to bear fruit, to release life, and to reflect my light in a world filled with darkness. When you begin to recognize this, you will no longer see yourself as a victim of your circumstances. You will understand that even though you cannot control everything happening around you, you can still choose how to respond with faith, love, and wisdom. This is the spiritual authority I have placed within you. Not authority to dominate others, but authority to overcome your own fear, bitterness, despair, and the invisible chains that once held your soul captive. Remember the story of Joseph. He was betrayed by his own brothers, sold into slavery, falsely accused, and forgotten in prison. If seen through natural eyes, his life seemed to be nothing more than a long series of injustice and loss. But Joseph did not allow his circumstances to determine who he was. He continued to remain faithful, continued to trust, and continued to walk with me. In the end, the very things that were meant to destroy him became the path that led him to a position where he could save many lives. Looking back, he was able to say that what others intended for harm, God used for good. Do you see? My light does not only help you overcome the past, it helps you see the meaning of the past from an entirely different perspective. My beloved child, there will be trials on the journey ahead. I have not promised that you will never face difficulty, but I have promised that difficulty will no longer have the same power to rule over you as it once did. For now you know who is walking with you. Every trial carries a lesson. Every mountain holds an opportunity for faith to grow. Every closed door may be protecting you from something that was never meant for you. As it is written, and we know that all things work together for good to those who love God, Romans 8:28. This does not mean that everything will feel pleasant, but it means that I can use everything to bring eternal good to those who place their trust in Him. I want you to learn to see life through the eyes of hope. There are things you do not understand today, but one day you will look back and realize that my hand was present in every detail. The meetings that seemed accidental, the doors that unexpectedly opened or closed, the long seasons of waiting that seemed meaningless, all of them have a place in the greater plan I am carrying out. You cannot see the entire picture, but I can. You see only one chapter of the story, but I know the ending from the beginning. Therefore, do not allow the limitations of the present to make you doubt my faithfulness. As you continue to walk in the light, you will discover that true joy does not come from the disappearance of every problem. True peace does not come from every circumstance becoming favorable. These things come from knowing that you are held in my hands. There are people who possess everything the world promises, yet their hearts remain empty. On the other hand, there are those who go through trials, yet their souls remain filled with peace because they know I am walking with them. This is the gift I want to give you, a steadiness that does not depend on circumstances, a hope that cannot be extinguished by adversity, and a faith that is not shaken by the winds of life. My beloved child, do not think that your best days are behind you. Do not believe the voice of disappointment that says your life will remain as it is now forever. I am the God of new beginnings. I am the one who causes the wilderness to bloom and dry places to become streams of living water. What I am doing in you today is not an ending, but the beginning of a new chapter. Keep walking, keep trusting, keep allowing my light to guide every decision. For every day you draw nearer to me is another day you draw nearer to the person I destined you to become. Therefore, my beloved child, receive this season of renewal with gratitude and expectation. Let your mind be renewed by truth. Let your heart be guided by love. And let your soul rest in my presence. This is not the end of the journey of restoration, but the beginning of a new life, where you are no longer controlled by the past, no longer living under the shadow of fear, but walking in the freedom, peace, and hope that I prepared for you long ago. And then, day by day, you will come to realize that the greatest miracle is not that the circumstances around you have changed, but that you yourself have been transformed by my unchanging love. My beloved child, I want you to understand that there are seasons in the spiritual life when very ordinary things suddenly become filled with meaning. Not because the things around you themselves have changed, but because your heart is being opened to recognize my presence in a deeper way than before. The place you once considered a familiar corner of your home can now become a place where you encounter me. The chair where you often sit, the window you open every morning, the quiet pauses between your daily tasks, all of these can become points of contact with grace when your heart turns toward me. For I am not present only in places called holy, but I also step into the simplest things of life to reveal my love and His nearness. There may be times when you are walking through a completely ordinary day, yet suddenly your heart becomes still. An old hymn begins to echo in your mind. A verse of scripture you read long ago suddenly becomes clear, as though I am speaking directly to you. A gentle sense of peace covers your heart in the midst of many concerns. Do not be quick to regard those moments as insignificant. Many times, they are the moments when I am drawing you closer to my heart. As it is written, be still, and know that I am God. Psalm 46:10. In a world filled with noise, I often choose to speak to you through quiet spaces that only a seeking heart can recognize. I do not come to make you afraid or to make you feel small before my power. On the contrary, I come to lift you up. I know there have been days when you were too weary from having to be strong. There have been times when you tried to hold yourself together under pressures that no one else could see. But today I want you to hear this clearly. You no longer need to carry every burden by yourself. Jesus said, "Come to me, all you who labor and are heavy laden, and I will give you rest." Matthew 11. Arshaba. This is not a distant promise, but an invitation meant for you at this very moment. I want your soul to find rest in my presence. Remember the prophet Elijah when he hid himself at Mount Horeb. He had gone through great spiritual battles and had become exhausted. When he stood before me, He witnessed a great wind, an earthquake, and fire, but I was not in those things. After all of that, there came a gentle whisper, and it was in that stillness that Elijah recognized me. Do you see? I do not always move through spectacular signs. Many times, I choose to reveal myself through gentleness, through an unexplainable sense of peace, through a quiet confirmation within your heart. For I care more about your soul than about impressing your eyes. My beloved child, when your heart is open before me, the atmosphere around you will also begin to change. Not because every problem immediately disappears, but because my presence is working from the inside out. Where there was once tension, I sow gentleness. Where there was once unrest, I sow peace. Where there were long-standing misunderstandings, I begin to sow seeds of compassion and forgiveness. As it is written, "Blessed are the peacemakers, for they shall be called sons of God." Matthew 5:9. When you allow me to reign in your heart, that light will spread to those living around you in ways that even you may not realize. There will be moments in the middle of your daily work when you feel a prompting to stop and pray, to open the scriptures, or simply to lift your heart toward me. Do not take those moments lightly. It is not because I need more of your time, but because I know your soul needs to be renewed. Just as the body needs water to sustain life, your soul also needs my presence in order to be strengthened. There are instructions I want to give. There is comfort I want to pour in. There are things I want to heal that can only be touched when you make room for me within your heart. I also want you to understand that not every wonder appears in the form you expect. Some miracles come in the shape of a wise decision. Some miracles come through a door opening at just the right time. Some miracles come through a brief conversation that changes the entire direction of your life. Some miracles are simply the fact that you wake up with new hope after days that seemed hopeless. I am the God who works in great things, but I am also the God who is present in the smallest details. My beloved child, do not become so focused on seeking extraordinary signs that you miss what I am doing every day. The most important thing is not the special feeling you may experience, but the relationship between you and me that is growing deeper and deeper. For emotions may come and go, but my presence remains forever. When you learn to walk with me in the most ordinary things, you will discover that your entire life is covered by grace. Every morning is a gift. Every breath is evidence of mercy. Every new day is an opportunity for you to encounter me more deeply. Therefore, my beloved child, keep your heart tender and sensitive to my voice. Treasure the quiet spaces I give you. Respond to holy promptings with simple obedience. Do not worry if you do not yet understand everything that is taking place. Just continue to walk closer to me each day. Then you will realize that the greatest wonder is not found in special experiences, but in the fact that I am always with you. I am present in your tears, in your hidden prayers, in your joyful days, and even in the long nights of wrestling. And when you live in that awareness, your home, your work, your relationships, and your very soul will become places of peace, filled with the heavenly presence I prepared for you long ago. My beloved child, what I desire from you is not a life of faith, sustained only by habit, nor spiritual actions repeated merely out of obligation. I am not seeking prayers that are offered only when you face hardship, and then quickly forgotten when everything becomes favorable. What I long for is your heart itself. I desire a living relationship, where you come to me not only because you need an answer, but because you recognize that my presence is more precious than every answer. For the greatest blessing I give you is not the gifts from my hand, but myself. There are people who spend many years searching for fulfillment and success in relationships, in the approval of others, or in the things of this world. Yet deep within their souls, there remains an emptiness that nothing can fill. Do you know why? Because I created your heart with the capacity to know me. There is a place within your soul that can only be filled by the presence of the Creator. That is why, no matter how much you achieve, and no matter how many different seasons you pass through in life, there is always a quiet calling, drawing you back closer to me. As it is written, my soul thirsts for God, for the living God, Psalm 42:2. That thirst is not a sign that you are lacking. It is a sign that you were created to belong to me. I know there are times when you feel you are not good enough to draw near to me. There are days when you look at your own shortcomings and think that you must change much more before you can truly enter my presence. But my beloved child, if you had to become perfect before coming to me, then no one would ever be able to come. I do not wait for you to become strong before I love you. I do not wait for you to fix every mistake before I open my arms. It is in weakness that I reveal grace. It is in imperfection that I carry out the work of renewal. As Jesus said, those who are well have no need of a physician, but those who are sick, Matthew 9:12. Come to me as you are, because I love you too much to leave you unchanged. But I also love you enough to receive you right now. My beloved child, perhaps there have been times when you felt that I was silent. You prayed but did not yet see what you hoped for. You waited but did not yet see the door open. And in those moments, your heart began to wonder whether I was still listening. But I want you to understand that silence does not mean absence. There are times when I am working in depths your eyes cannot yet see. There are seasons when I do not answer immediately because I am preparing something better than what you are asking for. Remember Lazarus. When Jesus heard that he was seriously ill, he did not come immediately. From a human perspective, that seemed like a delay, but that very delay opened the way for a greater miracle. What you call delay is often the preparation of heaven. Therefore, do not let past disappointments cause you to doubt my faithfulness. Do not let unanswered prayers make you withdraw. Instead, let them become the reason you seek me more deeply. As it is written, you will seek me and find me when you search for me with all your heart. Jeremiah 29:13. I am not hiding myself from you. I am inviting you to step through the mist of doubt and discover the depth of the relationship I have always desired to have with you. What I am seeking is not perfect rituals, but a sincere heart willing to open itself before me. I want to become part of every moment of your life, not only in solemn hours of prayer, but also in the simplest things. When you wake up in the morning, I am there. When you sit alone with your private thoughts, I am there. When you work, when you drive, when you prepare a meal, when you are weary after a long day, I am still there. I do not want to be limited to a certain hour or a certain place. I long to walk with you through every rhythm of life. For true relationship is not built from rare encounters, but from continual presence. Look at Enoch, the man whom Scripture says walked with God. The Bible does not record many great achievements or remarkable miracles from his life. What stands out most is that he walked with me. That is what I desire from you. Not only moments of intense emotion, but a steady journey in which, each day, you learn to live closer to me than you did the day before. That relationship is not nourished by temporary excitement, but by faithfulness in small things, a sincere prayer, a moment of listening, a grateful heart in the midst of ordinary circumstances. My beloved child, when you begin to seek me, not because of what I can give, but because of who I am, you will discover a wondrous transformation. Your heart will be healed in places where human counsel cannot reach. Your mind will be renewed from old patterns of thinking. Fear will gradually lose its strength. Peace will begin to rule within your heart, not because your circumstances have completely changed, but because you have found the true source of life. As Jesus said, "Whoever drinks of the water that I shall give him will never thirst." John 4:14. Only I can satisfy the deepest thirst of your soul. Therefore, my beloved child, step deeper into the relationship I am opening before you. Do not be content with merely knowing about me from a distance. Do not allow your faith to stop at spiritual habits alone. Let your heart truly encounter my heart. Draw near to me in simplicity, sincerity, and longing. I do not demand perfection. I am only seeking a willing heart. And when you give me that heart, you will realize that the most wonderful thing is not what I do for you, but that you are able to live near me, walk with me, and be loved by my eternal, unchanging love. My beloved child, there are paths that, when you look back, even you do not understand how you were able to get through them. There were seasons so long that you thought the dawn would never appear. There were days when your soul was heavy in ways words could not explain. There were nights when you knelt down to pray, yet it felt as though every sound dissolved into silent emptiness. There were moments when you wondered whether you were walking in the right direction, whether I truly heard the cry of your heart. But today I want you to know that not a single moment of that journey was outside my sight. When you thought you were fighting alone, I was still there. When you felt that your faith was only a small flame before a mighty wind, I was still preserving that flame. When you no longer had the strength to run, I only asked you to keep walking. When you no longer had the strength to walk, I was still beside you to uphold you. There are battles no one sees and no one understands, but I have witnessed them all. I saw the times you chose prayer instead of surrender. I saw the times you continued to trust even though you had not yet received an answer. I saw the times you kept your heart from bitterness when circumstances seemed unfair. My beloved child, do not measure victory only by outward results. Many people think victory means every door opens, every difficulty disappears, and every prayer is answered immediately. But there are victories far greater than that. It is when you still keep your faith in days when you see no results. It is when you still keep the tenderness of your soul in the midst of wounds. It is when you continue to love in a world full of division. It is when you still choose hope, even though your circumstances have not yet changed. Such victories are recorded in eternity. As it is written in the book of Hebrews, let us run with endurance the race that is set before us. I am not looking for human perfection in you. I am looking for perseverance. For the one who is victorious in my eyes is not the one who has never stumbled, but the one who always rises after every fall. The victorious one is not the one who has never been afraid, but the one who keeps moving forward even while afraid. The victorious one is not the one who has never cried, but the one who continues to trust through tears. My beloved child, perhaps today you are looking back at doors that once closed and still do not understand why. There were relationships that ended and once caused your heart deep pain. There were opportunities that seemed perfect, yet slipped from your hands. There were plans you carefully built, yet in the end they did not unfold as you expected. But now, I want you to look at all these things with different eyes. Not every closed door is rejection. There are doors I close in order to protect you. Not every delay is failure. There are seasons of waiting that I use to prepare you for something greater. Remember Joseph. The prison was not his final destination, but it was a necessary part of the journey. Remember David. The wilderness was not the place where he would remain forever, but it was the place where I trained the heart of a king. Remember Elijah. After the great victory on Mount Carmel, he still had to pass through days of exhaustion and loneliness before he could hear my gentle voice. In all of those stories, I had not forgotten them, and I have not forgotten you either. My beloved child, what you call delay is often preparation. I do not only care about what I will entrust to you, I care about the person you will become when you receive it. For if I were to give you something great while your soul was not yet ready, that gift could become a burden. But when I prepare you first, what I give will become a true blessing. Therefore, do not despise the lessons of past seasons. It was in the days that seemed driest that your roots grew deeper. It was through being misunderstood that you learned humility. It was through rejection that you learned your worth does not depend on the approval of others. It was through waiting that you learned to trust me more than your own emotions. My child, I also want you to know that the peace that is coming is not a sign for you to fall asleep spiritually, but an opportunity for you to walk with new maturity. Do not return to old patterns of thinking. Do not allow the fears that once bound you to regain a place in your heart. I have brought you through too much for you to go back to where you once were. Continue to move forward in the freedom I am giving you. As I have spoken in Isaiah, fear not, for I am with you. Be not dismayed, for I am your God. This is not merely a verse to read and pass over. This is the reality I want you to live in every day. You do not need to prove your strength to anyone. You do not need to make others acknowledge your journey. What I desire is for you to continue staying close to me, to continue keeping your heart tender, and to continue walking in obedience. My beloved child, the most precious thing I am forming within you is not fame, not influence, and not achievement. The most precious thing is a faithful heart, a heart that knows how to seek me when no one is watching, a soul that knows how to worship me in difficult days, a life that is not governed by fear or pride, but guided by love and truth. So lift up your head. Look back on the journey you have passed through with gratitude. Look at the present with peace, and look toward the future with hope, for I am still leading you. What I have begun in your life, I will complete. What I have planted in your heart, I will cause to bear fruit. And what I am preparing ahead is greater than what you can imagine at this moment. Keep walking with me. For the one who kept you through your darkest days will also lead you into the days filled with light that I prepared for you long ago.